The test scores are in and American kids are failing across the board. Students' test scores in math and reading dropped significantly last year, adding to a decade-long freefall. In fact, according to a latest report, this latest decline in math was the biggest in the past 5 decades. Joining me now to break this all down further is 17-year-old political commentator Caroline Joyous. Also with us is the host of Money Talk with Melanie and Project 21 member Melanie Collette. And back with us, our special guest, business and political analyst John Burnett. He's also a dad. Melanie, I'll start off with you first. You actually were a teacher, and these results came from a test known as the Nation's Report Card, which is a national assessment of 13-year-old students. Now, according to the numbers, the average math score for 13-year-olds declined 9 points between 2019 and 2023. The average reading score for the 13-year-olds declined 4 points between those same years. Both math and reading scores began declining back in 2012, and now these average test scores are actually lower than they were before the pandemic. What do you think is causing this major decline?
One of the reasons why I am a former teacher and not a current teacher is because of the way the schools operate. I have a big problem with mediocrity. One of the reasons is because public schools are cooking the books. What do I mean by that? What I mean is they're passing kids based on growth of knowledge rather than actual knowledge. They're doing things like grading safety nets, where kids can pass the whole entire grade when they got nearly a zero in first and second marking period of the year. These are the types of things that public schools do in the name of equality and equity to help the kids. They're passing kids without the actual knowledge, and they are ill-equipped forget testing, for any kind of critical thinking or obtaining any kind of serious knowledge. It's maddening, and if you believe in intrinsic value in your work, teaching is a horrible job because you're just spinning your wheels and kids are not learning.
Very
and
frustrating.
It's not the teachers. It is administrators and others who are forcing teachers to grade this way.
Wow.
I want to be clear about that.
Mm-hmm. And Caroline, you're 17 years old, you're a student, and regarding this latest report, about 8,700 students took the assessment at about 460 schools across the country, according to that report. Kids are performing as bad as they did back in the 70s when the assessment started. You're a student. What do you think is really going on? What's the sentiment among kids? Do they not care anymore, or what's happening?
Well, I mean, obviously, if we look at, the aftermath of, we're the first generation to really have social media at our fingertips all of the time. So we obviously are the most attention deficit generation in American history so far. But what I have to say is I really and truly don't believe that the issue that we're seeing stems from students not caring, rather the government not caring, not putting our students first. Because if we really look back at it, our test scores didn't begin to drop like they are right now until 2020. I see that the National Center for Education Statistics actually conducted a special administration study. It's a long-term study ranging from 2020 to the end of last year, 2022. It's the most recent study. And it actually shows that in middle school, we have had the largest average score decline in reading since 1990, and the largest ever score decline in math ever, period, in documented American history. Now, when did this start? It didn't start 10 years ago. It didn't even start 5 years ago. It started when we locked down our schools. The government said, hey, you can't go to school anymore, and the government stopped putting our students first.
And John Burnett, we have about a minute left. Do you think this plays anything to do with the parents not actually disciplining their children? That's what I see as a lot of the problem here.
I think it's the system. Starting with the teachers union. The teachers union treat math, reading, and writing as though they're electives and not the core foundation for all learning. And we also have to be honest with our public school system. We need multiple options because the public school system in today's world operates like a modern day plantation. One size fits all. And many people learn differently. They need to be in different environments. That's why school choice, in my view, is the Underground Railroad to education freedom. And I think we need to bring that empowerment to parents so that way we're not relying on the government. Because when you look at a $32 trillion national debt and an uneducated future,
we gotta go.
That spells disaster for our republic.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, I'm Lydia Serrani. Trust and remember that God is with you in all ways, always. Have a blessed Sunday.